Okay. I don't know if I have it.
So is there
I
a
didn't know if you were
specific
doing
role that you're
live.
interested in?
I just trying to get out of the trend.
What's
Like
your
1K
MMR
to
at?
2K. That's just my first goal, just to get to 2K.
Well, I got you. So then we definitely don't want to do support. Support. You can do it with support, but it's just harder. And I don't know how consistently you can get.
I get doing like epic throws.
Yeah.
Not saying like I'm the man, they're the reason, but it's like you get in and it's just like I do so
Yeah.
well, and then they just throw.
So is there a specific role that you can consistently get, like off lane or safe? I don't know which is the most contested at that level.
Lately it's been weird. I haven't had trouble getting mid or safe, but off lane's like usually always able to get in this MMR.
Alright. I think the three main things that you want to look for in a hero that you want to play if you want to climb, is and it's kind of solo pick off potential, tower pushing potential, and the ability to get Roche. And then also split pushing. I think split pushing is the top three, and then Roche is like the fourth one. So if you think about, here, let me share my screen. If we, Meepo's like notoriously the best hero for winning the game alone, right?
Yeah.
And I think most of the reason for that is he's one hero that can do all of those things just as good as like any other hero. He can split push, he can pick off heroes by himself, he can take Roche, and he can take towers. Just like completely fine, which is he's a unique example of that. So if you're trying to climb and that's your goal with this, usually I teach how to play Dota correctly instead of how to play to get like from one point to the other. Because sometimes people limit themselves with that, but it is a actual strategy to do that, where you like pick one hero, spam it, and then get to the rating that you want, and then try and branch out from there, because then you'll at least be playing against people that are better than you or your level and will punish you for more when you play other things, so you can learn faster. So do you want to try to get your MMR up real quick, or...
Yeah, I kind of like to, because I feel like in my solo I can't get good games. Like there's two, and then like when my party, it's usually around like the people I play with are like 3.5 to like sometimes like whatever ancient is, like that level,
Yeah.
like 3 to 4K, let's call it, or something for
That, yeah, that bracketish. Well then...
if you look at my turbos and stuff, I was just practicing heroes I never played before.
Oh, gotcha.
So like Medusa, Wraith King, I tried a couple other coaches too, like working on like my creep score and map awareness and stuff, so it's been helping. So Medusa, Wraith King, and Ricky, I've been playing, and like for when I'm solo, I guess trying.
Yeah. Well, if you're trying to like shoot up, the first thing we want to do is pick like a hero or some heroes, and we want to look at them in their ability to do the things that I talked about, which is split pushing, picking off, and taking towers. And if you can take a tower, you usually can take Roche. Ursa's like one of the examples that doesn't work with.
Right.
And then another key component is how independent of your team are you? Like, Wraith King's not good until he's like level 12 or something, and he has like 2 or 3 items. So I don't think Wraith King's that great for picking as a hero like that. He might be better now that he has the skeletons from his crit, and that helps him push a lot, but I don't know too much. Like, I don't have much experience with or against him. So what are some heroes that you like? And then we can like pick from the heroes you like, and then we can build on those and see if we can start getting you winning some games.
Okay, well, I've played Abaddon. When I play party, I usually play like Abaddon, Axe, Bristleback. I play CK. So like usually the melee, like those guys.
So tanky melee heroes.
Yeah. So like the noob heroes.
Yeah, gotcha.
You know, Wraith King, Spirit Breaker. So those, but I've been playing more of the other ones because I was just not confident in my abilities and didn't want to mess up. But lately, I've just been spamming all of the heroes to learn everything I can about them, how they work. Know they're cool. Like so, when I see them use an ability, I'm like, okay, they took that, so they don't have whatever, and then they got 10 more seconds till they can do that again or something.
Yeah. So I think Beastmaster would be pretty good then if he falls. Would you like playing him?
I never played him before. Is he hard to play as?
It depends on your micro skill, and your setups for all of it. Because it's not too difficult, and I don't micro like at all, but like all you have to do is set up a control group for your hawk, and then always like send it to wherever you want, and then you kind of just like have these guys with you and just have them do what you want to do. So it's usually something like a fight will go like you roar a guy and then you put all your shit on him and then you like do this guy's spell, and that's like most of the micro. There isn't too much more to it except for like making sure your hawk doesn't die, but he's a lot tankier now, so that's not too hard. But this guy's really good because he can push like a fucking beast. He can take towers like a beast, and he can solo pick off if you're ahead. So he covers a lot of the areas. I'm not too great with him, but he's definitely a good... like, I don't know the ins and outs of him too well, but I could definitely help you start on the path with him if you want. Trying to think of some other heroes. The fuck is this?
It's the new terrain. It's pretty cool.
The fuck? Why did I just get that? Hey, whatever.
It came out randomly. We all got it in the past 30 minutes separately in my party. It was really weird.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, I'll fuck with that later. So Beastmaster's really good for that. Who else would be really good? Bloodseeker's obviously like the pub stomper.
Right.
He can pick off if you do it correctly. He can push, kind of. Like he's not too great at it, but he's still like good enough. If you could play Meepo, which I'm assuming you can't. Shadow
I never played him before. Is he hard?
Yeah, you have to. He's like one of the... I like to say that 80% of the cast is like 80% of the cast, and then there's 20% of the cast that's just kind of like their own thing to an extent. Meepo is one of those heroes where you can be the best Meepo in the world and still suck at Dota. Just because, like, you're basically playing 5 different heroes by playing this guy, which is a mechanic that's completely his own. Other things that are kind of like that are Earth Spirit dealing with his stones. Oracle has a lot of synergy between his spells, so he's kind of in there. Chen and Enchantress, if you like actually play them like they're supposed to be played. Enchantress is kind of an offlaner now, so it's a little bit different. But yeah, Meepo is kind of like, you have to commit if you want to like start playing this guy, and I don't know shit about him, so I can't really coach anything about him.
Yeah, I don't think I'm ready there yet.
Yeah. Morphling's really good, but he's one of those guys that depends on your team for the first few minutes of the game, so he's not super reliable. I actually want to get into one of your games and see if we can point out some general stuff, and then we can go from there.
Alright, you check out that Wraith King or Medusa?
Sure. Let's do the Medusa one.
So what was the other hero besides, so you said, Shadow Fiend.
Yeah.
He's another one that's good. I only played him the one time, so that you saw that loss on.
Yeah, he's very snowbally though, and it's easy.
I'd like to play him.
Yeah, it's easy to like win the game with this guy because he gets super strong, but if you die, you get like super weak. So it's pretty complicated, or it's not complicated. It's just like more difficult, I guess.
Is PA not that great anymore?
Um,
Like in my anymore?
I don't really know. She might be good. One sec. There's actually. Let me look some shit up.
I don't see PAs too much anymore, so I was wondering. PA and Slark, I don't see him that often like we used to.
Yeah, Slark's kind of like, if they have anyone that can sheep, he's just shit on this this badge. Cause his dark pack doesn't take off hex anymore. Here, I'm gonna send you a link to something that I'm looking at right now. And this separates win rate by heroes by MMR.
Oh wow, Venge is up there. Yeah, wow. Okay, Wraith Kings. Alright, those are all heroes. I know at least.
Yeah, Wraith King's a pretty decent one because he's really good at killing people. And he's a lot of fighting as opposed to farming. Because he has like no farm mechanics really. He's just like all of his mechanics are for like killing people. Like you stun in reality or rift somebody with your illusions up and they're like as good as dead. Because you can have like a 4-second stun on a carry that has like 500 times damage with all his illusions. So he's really good at getting kills. The thing is, he's not great in lane unless you're going to be killing people. Like, he's not good at harassing and he's not good at taking harass, but he's really good at killing. One thing I want to point out is you definitely need to be using your quick buy, and this is something that I see a lot of people not doing. And there's really 3 main reasons for doing it. The first one is it makes you think about what your lane's going to be like before the game starts, which is kind of harder in like this bracket because it's not obvious. Like,
yeah, look at their team.
Yeah, like any one of these could like really go anywhere. They don't have Pugna's the closest to a support, and then like Sven and Wraith King are like the second closest to some cheeky ass support. But it's kind of like it makes you think about what the laning could be like and what's the worst that could happen, and if you build to what the worst that could happen is, you're only gonna be better off from there. So like if they have a lane where you're just gonna take constant slow harass, but you don't have the regen for that, then you're fucked. But if you do build to that and you're missing like 3 damage, you can use that extra regen aggressively. So it's kind of like if you prepare for the worst and it doesn't happen, you're still safe. But if you don't prepare for the worst and it does happen, you're basically fucked. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So if you your build's fine for this. But yeah, so that's the first point of using your quick buy. The second point is if you die, you can buy out all of your stuff and not lose gold. Like if you died right now, you'd lose 80 gold unless you spent it all.
I gotcha. Yeah, no, that makes total sense. I could have my boots at least. I could quick buy them.
Yeah, and then the third is what's going to happen right here is you're going to miss this deny because you're going to open the shop, look for the thing that you want, and then buy it, as opposed to just going to the shop, pressing the button to use your quick buy, and then running out. So it costs you like time to do it in lane, whereas you could use the time in the beginning of the game where you're literally doing nothing to do it. So it's a great habit to get into, and I'm definitely going to make fun of you if you don't do it by our next session, because that seems to make it stick the best. It's good you held your snake until the spin was over.
So like some things I know I've been made aware of that I've been trying to take, like walk attack. I played this game for like a year and never even used walk attack. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So I've been trying to do that.
Your mechanics seem fine so far. Like there's a little shit like you didn't put up your shield. Like if you put up your shield while the stun was flying out, you'd be in a lot better position. Like if you shield now, you'd be a lot safer. And then if you have this already, I would recommend that you would have got, I don't really want to do the math, but you could have got the 2 branches and the mango, and then the sage's mask, and flew all of that out, and then got the ring of protection and the stick from the side shop.
I see.
So there's kind of like 175 gold of this you could have at the side shop. And in this lane and most lanes, stick is amazing on Medusa, because every mana you have is like also health, and then the regen's really nice. If you have health regen, you can use your shield less and just like regenerate back the health. And it's like she's one of the most efficient. Like the amount of damage that she can take per charge of stick is probably the highest in the entire game. So it's a very cheap item that makes her very strong. So I would definitely like to see it on you this game. I like the Aquila because the little mana regen's pretty nice. Actually, okay, also, I would fly out a Clarity with your Bassi. Because you're gonna need a Clarity at some point. So it's kind of like, why not just have it now? It's 50 gold. And maybe your Clarity means that you can keep spamming snakes for the rest of the lane.
No, that makes total sense.
And like even if you only get like 80 mana out of it because the Wraith King stuns you and like pops it, it's like that's enough to get another snake off, and that'll pay for itself. And this guy had to use his stun to pop your thing. You want to turn this off because you don't want this to push. So here, this is something as Medusa that you need to pay attention to. If you see the creep wave coming, you can use it with your snake and do a ton of damage. So here, you could have,
snake them.
You could have snaked the melee creeps when it gets to like here. Like snake this guy, it's gonna bounce to this guy, and then maybe that guy, and then it's gonna go to the Wraith King, and he's gonna die. And you had the ward that gave you the vision of the creep, so it's just kind of like something that you have to be mindful of. Because you would have killed him there, I'm pretty sure. If not, just like, he would be low enough that he can't do anything, and you'd have full mana.
Yeah, I just wasn't, it caught me off guard. I thought Luna was, Lena, Jesus.
Lena.
Was gonna wait.
You should definitely be trying to deny the range creep. I think you... Yeah, like, there was no reason for you not to deny that. And that's 25% of the experience to you. And he's missing 75%, and it's like 60 gold for that last hit he's gonna get. And then he's also gonna get like a little bit of health from the lifesteal. But it's just kind of like, there's no reason that you shouldn't have got that deny. I don't mind you not getting this. That's good. Yeah, I'd be spamming this. I'd snake right here because you have full mana. So even if it doesn't give you full mana back, it allows you to push this really quickly and then either get tower damage or force the Wraith King to be here, but he's not. So if you push this right now, all that's going to happen is you're going to deny these creeps because they're going to die to the tower, and you're going to get tower damage done. So it's like, you start doing it now, but you could have, like, you had the information to do it sooner, which would mean this tower right now is like 200, 300 lower. Yeah, you don't get the tower because of it, or do you? Yeah, it literally gets denied because you didn't snake there. See, this is like another like 6 seconds, and this was like, you didn't need to TP here.
Yeah, I see that. I've just been trying to. I've been criticized for not making a decision quick, so I've just been trying to like focus on. Okay, just you know what I mean. Like if I'm thinking about moving, just go. Like,
I mean, it makes sense because at least from you doing this, you're gonna learn that it's not good, as opposed to you not doing it. You're not gonna learn that it's. Because, like, you could have just stayed in lane. You took so long at the shop that the creep wave was going to be here in, like, soon. Like, by the time...
I didn't see them either, that's why I got nervous.
Yeah.
I get nervous with her sometimes without ulti yet.
There's a thing with these golems that if you can time it, or you can play it so that if you drop both of these guys low, and then you kill them with your snake, it'll steal the mana from both of these and then hit the 4 golems that they split into.
Oh, nice.
So you basically get full mana back if you do that. So yeah, you hit 6 things and steal 20% of their mana, and I think they have like 400 each or something. 400 and yeah, 400. So you get whatever 20% of 400 times 6, which is like 80 each times 6.
I think at this point they just leave me alone, which is, I knew it was going to be, you know.
It kind of sucks that your Luna's just like here doing whatever the fuck she's doing. Because, yeah, I'd rather see you like pushing this out and then farming the camps, and then like pushing it out and then farming the other camp. But like she's there, so you really can't. So I want to go to your other one.
Okay.
And focus a little bit on the early game for that one. Do you have any questions so far?
No, just after we're done with this, maybe we get set up with some heroes to work on, and
yeah,
I'll apply your tips. So what I'd like to do is a couple days a week, maybe a couple hours session, where like maybe like, so you give me some. This is what I'm envisioning. Like we do, like the replay and maybe a live coach, and then I practice on what you like show me.
Yeah,
and then
sure.
Pick it up in a few more days.
Yeah, it's really good to have a few days spaced, because like if I do this lesson, then you play one game, and then we go over that like an hour later. It's like, you can only like absorb so much. But one thing that I hope happens with me starting to do these lessons is I don't have to go over the same mistakes as often, because people, like, I'm talking for an hour and I'm giving you, if I'm talking for an hour straight, there's probably like 50 minutes of that is just going to be straight information and things that you like need to learn. And of course, with like 50 minutes, you're just going to forget some of the shit. So I'm hoping that by putting the videos up, it allows my students to fully get the lesson, as opposed to like just however much they retain. And whenever you get the free mango, it's very huge to consider just getting 2 more branches, because then you can make your wand at the side shop. And when you have a free mango, it makes wand so much better.
Okay.
Yeah, so here I would, if I were you, I'd be picking up 2 branches and a clarity. Because after you spend 2 stuns, you're basically done for the lane, unless you use the mango, which you want to use for your stick. Your camera positioning needs a little work. Like, all of this is kind of wasted space. I'd much rather see you like looking here-ish. Because there's just like a lot of information you're not getting. Like, this whole scrimmage, you're just like not seeing. Because your camera's like more over here. So that's something to also be mindful of. Like, if we're gonna watch your camera's positioning, like, you could just have it down here and just be as well off, and you'd see everything. But here you're just kind of like missing a lot. Like, I'm sure you didn't even see that enchantress.
No, not at all. She caught me completely off guard.
Yeah, and that's just kind of your camera positioning, is you have it in a place that it doesn't need to be.
They get me here because of it. It just threw me off.
Yeah. Also, the quick buy and stuff, but of course you weren't going to fix that between these 2 games. I don't really like the Orb of Venom pickup.
Okay. My plan was to be aggressive. I didn't realize they were going to try to run us back.
Yeah. It's just kind of like Boots does the same thing but safer, and it leads into something.
Okay.
Like, Orb of Venom's really good if you're using it the whole time. Like, I'd rather have... Orb of Venom kind of deletes Boots from the enemy, if that makes sense, because you always have them slowed by 12%. Yeah, so it's basically like he has negative Boots when you hit him with Orb of Venom. And in that sense, like, let's say you guys... let's use an example where, like, you're an Ursa and there's a CM right here. Both of you have 1 more movement speed than her. She's at like 549 and you're at 550. And when she gets to this tower, she's safe. With that example, you might get like 1 or 2 attacks off on her. But if you have 1 more movement speed than her and she's at like 100 movement speed and you're at 101, the amount of time that you have between here and here is much longer. So the difference is the same, but it's, you would rather have the enemy slower than you quicker. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And then also the Orb of Venom is kind of like, if you even think of him being down a pair of boots as equal to being up a pair of boots, which it's like, it's better to have them down a pair of boots. But if you think about it as the Orb of Venom gives you a pair of boots, the Orb of Venom gives your entire team a pair of boots against this guy, if that makes sense. So if you're tri-laning against him, you're getting like 1,200 gold of boots on you, your Rubik, and then your Ogre when he's here. So Orb of Venom's really good in that sense, but it's kind of like Orb of Venom's not going to save you if you have to run away, and Orb of Venom isn't going to build into your treads. So it's like Boots does kind of the same thing, but Boots is along the way, whereas Orb of Venom's sidetracking yourself. So Boots is just kind of like a lot safer, but Orb of Venom can be better. Do you have any questions about that?
No, that makes sense.
Okay. But yeah, this is here. This is like, if you had a stick, you would be... Imagine if you had a stick the whole lane. You'd be at like full health and like probably this much mana between all the charges and all that. And then the 1.5 health regen ticking the entire laning phase. And then it's amplified by your 20% health regen, so it's a little bit more. And then if you also had a clarity, like you'd be ready to go. And it just keeps you... Yeah, you get it now. But like, imagine if you got that at the start of the game. That's kind of cool that you like actually end up doing the right thing. It's just kind of like late, so you're missing out.
Do it faster, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I see. It's because someone had pointed out like regen in the lane, and then you know. So I get it, but now I get it. You gotta do it faster. Like you're saying, you gotta make the choice to be able to see how to make the right choice.
Yeah. It's just really funny that you actually did exactly what I wanted you to do, just like 4 minutes later. But like, think about how many charges you've missed by now. And like you could have had it in lane and it not cost you like anything. You had 150 gold, so you very well could have done it. And then here's more like you could have got like a deny or two if you were quicker with your boots. And here you should definitely be right-clicking this guy and pulling the creeps back to your range creep, because this is you agree that this is kind of scary to be right here.
Yeah, without any of them showing besides Slayer.
Yeah, and if you do that, usually one of these creeps will at least go up here, so your range of vision will increase a little bit, and you'll be farther back to last hit. So the range...
That's something that I just learned recently, so I try to incorporate it. I know I gotta do.
There's a mechanic about it that you should probably know. It's when you do it, it lasts for 2.3 seconds. So these guys will stay on you for 2.3 seconds if you do it. And they usually finish their attack. So if you did it right now, they'll attack these guys and then go on you. But the main mechanics is it lasts 2.3 seconds. And then there's a cooldown of 3 seconds. So if it ever feels like they're not reacting, it's usually that discrepancy between how long it lasts and the cooldown of it. But yeah, so if, let's say, there's an ogre, like, running at you right now. If you did the creep aggro trick, you would be standing right here, last hitting these creeps, and then your line of vision would be like right here. So instead of seeing him this distance away, which is around like 600-ish, you would be here and the vision would be here, which is more like 900-ish. And wouldn't you feel so much safer with that?
Yeah, no, it makes total sense.
Okay. Also, don't be, what is your reasoning behind not having a Quelling Blade?
Just for the gold, I didn't know if I could just, if it was a waste of gold or something.
Well, it's, The thing is, oh, there's a fucking bug in my room. It's annoying. You're just gonna like, unless you're like 7K, you're gonna miss enough last hits that a Quelling Blade is gonna pay for itself, and that's like, all you need to get is 2 last hits for Quelling Blade to be worth it.
Okay.
Because it's 200 gold to buy it, and then you can sell it for 100 gold later, so it only has to save you 100 gold. And then there's a ton of things that make it nicer. So if we think about, let's say you're in a 1v1 situation, and you think about like the creeps as all being on timers, where like, let's say all of the creeps are getting like 30 damage per second or whatever one's taking 30 damage per second. The Quelling Blade will allow you a second sooner to get the last hit than you would have otherwise. So, let's say, I wonder if an example is going to pop up here. So, alright, this is a good one. It's better for the Slark, I guess, but I can point it out. So, right here, imagine if these both had 50 more health-ish. You having the Quelling Blade would allow you to get this last hit sooner, which would allow your auto attack to reset quicker, which would allow you to get this deny.
Well, makes more sense.
Okay, good. Because that's, and it's also, when you're getting like tri-laned, sometimes there's a small window of availability where you can get the last hit and not get harassed because they're busy with something else. And, let's say usually you have a 2-second window to get that last hit without a Quelling Blade. But with a Quelling Blade, you have an extra second on top of that. If that 1 second lines up with when they're busy doing something else, that Quelling Blade will allow you to get that last hit and save you like 100 health. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So all of these little things make Quelling Blade really good. And then also, like, you're a hero that wants to be farming until you're like level 12 at least. And Quelling Blade just, like, lets you clear camps quicker. Like, maybe if you take all of these 3 in, like, a minute, you'll finish, like, 4 seconds sooner, and you can come over here and stack this, as opposed to getting here at, like, the 56-second mark and not being able to stack it. So just over the course of, like, 20 minutes, Quelling Blade is, like, it pays for itself over and over and over. And then also, like, let's say it's, like, 15 minutes in the game. And there's like a creep wave here and you're auto-attacking it down. If you take 10 seconds to do it with a Quelling Blade, but it takes 12 seconds to do it without, the longer that you're in the vision, the more dangerous it is. Because, like, let's say they're like, oh, the Wraith King's there, let's TP there and gank him. It's going to take them a second to react to it, and then a second to actually do it, and then a few seconds to TP, and then a few seconds to walk there. And those 2 seconds can be the difference between you being at that creep wave or you leaving and just dodging the gank. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So there's all of these things add up and just make Quelling Blade like a really good item. I used to think of it as just kind of like a crutch, that it's like, if I buy it, then I'm like admitting that I suck at last hitting. But
that's how I like it in my head.
Yeah, that's it's good to start with that, because it's kind of like, alright, I'm not going to have to get Quelling Blade every game and, like, have crutches for the rest of my Dota career. But it's good to move past it, because, like, professional players get it. So it's a lot more than just a crutch. So don't think it's, like, that bad. Also, something to point out is you should hold your skill point for your ult. And what this allows you to do is sometimes you're guaranteed to die twice. Like if you die under their tower and there's like 3 people there, you agree that you're just gonna die twice no matter what, right?
Right.
So if you hold your ult, your skill point for it, you don't put it on 200-second cooldown for a death that's gonna happen twice no matter what. And you really don't want this to go on cooldown unless it's actually going to save you, because it's such a long cooldown, and it makes you vulnerable for the next, like, 3.5 minutes. And it, like, doesn't do anything to just have it. And, like, right now, or now's not the greatest example, because you're maxing your stun, which I don't even know if that's the build anymore.
Someone told me to do that, so that's the only reason why.
Gotcha.
Crit.
I
might be wrong. I'm not sure.
Well, I think it's just kind of like the stuns and slows for as long as it's going to, and you're not going to be using it too much in the early game. Like these speed up your farm and your everything a lot more. Like this will keep you alive more, and this speeds up your farm more. Which is all you're kind of worried about until like level 12 as this guy. And you don't really have the mana to cast this too often. So I'm kind of against maxing this. I'd say probably like 1 or 2 points in this and having this max, but you definitely want 1 point in it. I could be wrong with that though. I think this is really good to max though, because it's just kind of like having it maxed is 6% more chance to just instantly kill creeps, and then also have
even heroes too. Man. Like the squishy ones, like deletes them when it hits the crit.
Yeah, and it's a lot more about the farm speed than it is the damage, because like if you're attacking somebody, this is gonna on average do a bunch more damage maxed than this is. Like this might happen like half more often. Like if you attack somebody, if you attack 2 heroes, you're probably gonna get like 1 more crit on one of them. So it's not so much damage for the enemies, but it's like I think you get the full heal from any creeps you crit, even if they're like you heal based off of their maximum health pool on the crit hit. So it heals you for a bunch, and it speeds up your farming speed a bunch, and then you can also push with it better. But I'm not certain on that, and I don't play this guy enough to pretend to be certain on that. So we have like 15 minutes left. I want to, do I have any, I don't play carry too much.
What's unfortunate is I don't even want to play carry, like in my party. I like playing offlaner, or like the ones I was telling you.
Yeah.
I gotta do it in order to get my solo up. Like,
we could go over one of your offlane ones then. Because like sometimes you're just not gonna get carry and you're gonna have to play offlane, so this will help you climb anyways. Or we could do the heroes, which
give me one of the heroes. I can use the boost.
It's hard to say because I usually don't look at the game in this way, but I can try and. So give me some heroes that you think would be good to climb, and then I can talk about them from there.
Well, there's like PA, bloodseeker.
Bloodseeker's
a hero that can get on quick.
Bloodseeker's like notorious for being good.
Okay.
Because he's like, he has a ton of damage, The thing with him, though, is if you want to get the most out of him, you have to focus on denying also. Because it's, if you're in a 1v1 against somebody, like, let's say I'm against this axe, and neither of us get any last hits. We're both going to get 100% of experience out of the lane. But with me having 60 base damage and a 25% bonus damage, I can pretty reasonably get like all of the last hits. And that just means that like not only am I healing from all of it, but if we look at my experience and his experience after this one wave, so 4 last hits and 4 denies, and then we look at the experience. I'm an entire level above him, and
Wow.
we both just got 4 creeps of experience. I didn't get all the last hits, but that doesn't matter for experience. So he got 59, and I got almost 300 experience. So I get 125% of the experience from the lane, and he gets 25%. So I'm getting 5 times the experience he's getting. And that's huge as bloodseeker. Like, it's even great for yourself to get denies, because if we do that for like another lane or two, the axe is just going to be like level 1 and I'm going to be like level 4 or some shit. And then like he can't actually do anything about me, whereas if I wasn't getting all the denies, he might be able to contest me and like I lose some stuff. So like yeah, he's at halfway to 1, I'm almost level 3. And then at some point it's just like he can't do anything because I'm so far ahead of him, and all that happened is I got the denies that were like somebody else might not focus on and might not get all the denies. So I just missed one there and you got a bunch of experience from it. But yeah, so like if we look at our experience, I missed one of the denies and he's gotten 270 experience. I've gotten, I don't even know, a fuck ton, probably like 1,000. So this hero is great for getting denies and shutting down the enemy by they don't get experience, they don't get gold, and you have infinite sustain if they can't kill you quick enough. So he's great for all of those. It's just if you get dual laned and you don't play it correctly, and the enemy does, you can very well just like drop to 200 health and make yourself a huge target by going for a last hit with Blood Rage. One thing that you can do though, if that happens, is you can cast Blood Rage on the creep that you want to get the last hit on, and then you'll heal off of that. And what that does is you still have the bonus damage on that target, it's just you don't have the bonus damage on yourself too. So if they hit me with a nuke there, I wouldn't be taking the bonus 30%. So that's a cheeky little trick. But this guy's definitely
healed from it?
Yeah. But also here. Yeah, I got this.
Sick.
Yeah. And that works for everything. So if I blood rage this guy and then see, this guy got the heal from it.
Okay.
So whoever gets the last hit on a Blood Rage target, or if a Blood Rage target gets a last hit, then healing happens. So if you're another thing to consider with this guy is, let's say these are all heroes and we're going on the axe. I would rather Blood Rage the axe because it makes all of us do more damage as opposed to just me, because he's taking more damage.
Right, someone just made me aware of that like last week.
Yeah. So that's a really good consideration. And this guy, Phase Boots, is really good because it allows you to dominate the lane even harder. Like, what the fuck is somebody gonna do when you have 100 damage amplified by 30? You do 130 on denies, which is insane. And then for last hits on like enemy creeps, you do whatever. Yeah, I do almost 160 damage. Or yeah, I do 148.
So a lot of people spam Anti-Mage in my bracket now, so he's a good counter on Anti-Mage too, right? Like, so as soon as I have Rupture, just go hunt him down, basically, in the jungle or whatever.
Yep, and then he's hard to kill because he has Mana Shield, and he has, where is he? He has Mana Shield, so he takes less magic damage, but you don't do any unless you get a Radiance. And he has very low strength gain, and he doesn't really get strength items until much later in the game. So he's very low health, and he just survives.
For items, for Bloodseeker.
See, like at level 13, he doesn't even have 1,000.
Yeah, oh, he's squishy.
Yeah. Bloodseeker definitely. He's very. You can build him a few different ways. But a good build for you to try would be something like. This is good enough of a starting build for like most games. Like you don't have to change it much. And then from there you want to probably get phase boots, and then you can go Midas on this guy, but you would want it right after the phase boots probably, unless the lane is super easy and you can just get away with like brown boots or no boots and then Midas. But phase boots allow you to dominate in a lane that's not like free. And then Midas can be good, because until like 15 minutes you're super impactful just by like having your kit. Like Rupture's just amazing, this is amazing, and then you have a bunch of bonus damage from this, and you're super quick, and nobody has like there's a lot of lockdown that people don't have at that point. So you can get away with Midas, and then Radiance is usually pretty good.
What is there any other? So like, what items do you go? Okay, so you go Radiance, and then what else would you do?
Oftentimes BKB is very good, because you're often gonna be like making yourself super squishy by casting this on yourself, right. And you're very kiteable with the right items and shit. But BKB stops that a lot. So BKB is a really good item after, and your hero doesn't get too much survivability. Like BKB gives you a few hundred more health, so it's nice with that. And then from there you can get stuff like sometimes Blade Mail's good. Sometimes Sangenyasha is good, but that's kind of rare. I don't see people picking up Sangenyasha in higher games that much.
Okay. What about like Basher and Mjolnir?
Basher's good, Mjolnir can be good. If they have a lot of illusions, this tends to get better. Like if they have a PL or something, this can be really good. And then like Butterfly's good, Abyssal's good. If they have two cores that are very mobile, Ags can be good. AC can be good. He's just kind of like... He's kind of like a lot of other carries, except for the Midas, Radiance, BKB. Like after that, you can kind of just build him like a standard carry.
Kind of reminds me of Wraith King. Like that's how I've been building Wraith King lately, but not with the phase. But
it's just they're basically heroes that he's a little bit different, Wraith King, because he just survives. Like if you focus him, it's like, alright, you just made me use my ult when you could have just killed the rest of my team first and then killed me. But if you don't kill him, then you're getting Radiance down for like ever, and if he crits you, it's a fuck ton because it's 300% of somebody that gets 65 bonus damage. So that's why it's good on Wraith King. It's good on this guy because you amplify it with your Q, so it does like 20 more actual damage.
Oh, and it amplifies your Radiance too?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And it boosts up your farm speed a bunch because you can just like run into creeps like this, and then they just like melt. And also
and you're getting healed too from that, right?
Yeah. That's another huge thing. If you take a fight in a creep wave, if these die off, you get little pockets of heals just like by having it.
Nice.
And then also if you're going into a fight with let me clear these guys off. if we watch... The fuck is this?
Yo, you haven't seen that? Yeah, you get mini AMs now with the last patch.
Yeah, but this is like Radiance just makes you fast as fuck because you're doing a ton of AoE damage. And that's without the Blood Rage. So it's just kind of like... and it's really nice because usually you want people to get low and then you run in and get the last hit and then it's a 4v5 and you're full health and then you can fight from there. Because this guy's not too great.
You just run around with like BKB and Radiance in the fight towards the end, and you're just getting like insane thirst and just doing damage. No one can stop you.
Yeah, and this boosts your farming speed so much, and your pushing potential and all that. And like you can get away with the Midas, and you can get this like really quickly. It's just you kind of fall off too. Why the fuck are there? Why'd they do that? The mini AMs.
I don't know, it's so weird. I thought the game was bugged, but then I went on Reddit and everyone said that they did it.
So do you have any more questions about this guy?
No, so yeah, really it's to create space for my team's carry, right? Like I'm trying to get out ahead, start ganking their carry, set them back while our carries.
Yeah, it's depending on your team lineup that you can play it like that. But if you're like one thing to consider with using this guy to gain MMR is you don't want to rely too much on your team, so you can do that, but after you take a team fight, it's very important that you actually do something after with it. So if you like kill 2 of them, don't just like, alright, we did good, let's go back to farming the jungle. Like push a tower, take Roche, something.
Right, okay.
And that's one of the main things that I see with lower MMRs. People take fights somewhere that like it doesn't matter at all. And then they'll just like go back to farming after. Or you could just fucking fight near the towers that you want to take and then kill them and then take the towers. And then your fight actually does something.
Alright, so I will spam some bloodseeker so you have some stuff to watch in a couple days and maybe live coach one after?
Yeah, sure. I like if I'm gonna be coaching you during a game, I would rather do it with turbo because we can quickly get in and then get out, and then we can go over it, which is a lot more important than just doing it while I'm coaching you. And I'm usually against live coaching, because it's just kind of like we're gonna queue for 5 or 10 minutes, we're gonna pick for 5 minutes. You could just not get the role that you want, and then if you're making micro mistakes that I need to point out, I can't point them out in the middle of a game. And there's a lot of things that I will like want to point out, and if it's happening in a fight, you're focusing on the fight. Like you're using 80%.
Yeah, so like if you call it out and then it distracts me, and then I look at I got you. No, so, I know that it's I've done it a couple times, and I make mistakes that I don't even want to make because it's sometimes it's overwhelming for me.
That's why I think turbo would be good because it's quicker, and then we can also go over it after in the same amount of time.
Alright, that's cool.
And it's a lot more casual, so it's kind of like you don't have to. If you fuck something up in turbo, it's like, alright, whatever.
Yeah, nobody even cares. It's just like as far as reports and if you suck.
Yeah. And it's not ranked too. I don't think I can coach ranked though. But yeah, so do you have any final questions?
No, man, I'm excited. I'm gonna give it a shot. I always wanted to play this dude. I only played him like 3 times. So, and now I think he gave me some knowledge I did not.
Yeah. Quelling Blade, Stout Shield, and Tangos to start make you very safe in most games. And it's going to be more like... that's going to work 95% of the time, and then the other 5% you're going to get shit on, but you're going to be like, oh, hey, that's an example of the 5% that it doesn't work, and then you can like learn from that. So I'd say start with that every game, and then when it fucks up, wonder why it fucked up. And this here is also really good because like if all the lanes are fucking stupid, you can just go jungle. Actually, I should probably show you that real quick. There's a few things with this guy. One of the most important things is one of the most important things with jungling with this guy is using your Q correctly.
league that game, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Damn it, I don't have cheats on, do I? Whatever. Damn it. Alright, we're gonna have to wait for the creeps to spawn. It's gonna be like 2 minutes. But know how I was talking about the mechanics of Blood Rage? Where if you Blood Rage the enemy as opposed to you when you're chasing them like 3v1, he'll take more damage from everyone. Do you remember what I'm talking about?
Yeah, so I'll be the one getting smashed.
Yeah. So yeah, you just switch it so you're the enemy. So if I get like the wolf camp or something, I want to Blood Rage one of the wolves so that I'm doing 30% more or 25% more to him, he's doing 25% more to me, but the side wolves aren't doing 25% more to me.
That makes total sense, and I get the heal from it.
Yeah, it's basically you're doing the same amount of damage, you're just doing, you're taking less. But something to consider is the cooldown is very long on this. So in certain situations, it's sometimes better to rage yourself, and by the time that you have 2 points in this, you kind of just always rage yourself, because by then you're strong enough. Unless you're like super low from something else that happened. So this is mostly like the beginning of the game, and if like a lane goes shit like right away, this is important to know.
You do two like 2, 1,
2. 2 points in this, and then usually we want to start maxing this and then get points in this. I think people go 2, 2, and then max this while getting this, because like this doesn't get too much stronger. Like the first point in both of these is the main thing, and then the second one of this is like 50% better, and then this is just kind of like the second one allows you to keep it up always, which is very important.
Okay, so the third kind of has like a diminished return for the third.
Yeah. And this is like, you don't get any duration or cooldown reduction benefit from leveling this, aside from having it maxed and casting it on yourself and the enemy. So, fuck that guy. Here, I'm just going to cast it on this guy, and I'm going to start with that, because I'll be able to kill him within the time. And then here, here, it doesn't matter who I cast it on, and I'm just going to do this to speed it up, and hopefully I didn't fuck up and not time it right. If this drops off, I'm going to wait, and then I'm going to cast the Blood Rage, because I definitely need the health regen from this guy, because I just got like 200 health from that, whereas if I just last hit him without it, I would have to go back to base.
Could you have cast it on him at the same amount of heal?
Yeah, it's the same. But I just kind of like timed it wrong, where I might have done it with this also, where I cast it too soon, so this is going to fall off before I get the last hit. I think I got it there. Yeah.
So you cast it on him so that 3 people aren't hitting you where your blood works.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Okay, yeah, I never knew that. So that explains why I had such a hard time jungling.
Yeah. And now it's kind of like they're all low, and I kill them in 2 hits. So I just want to cast it on myself so I can get all the last hits without having to wait 36 seconds to get all of the last hits while Blood Raged. And now I'm healthy enough that when this guy gets low, I'm going to cast it on myself. So I get the last hit on him with it. And then I can continue to get like more last hits on like these guys with the duration still up. And then I'm not going to be able to kill this guy, the small one, quick enough, so I just move on to the big one. Then I'm going to do the same thing, where I'm going to wait till he gets low, and then I'm going to Blood Rage myself so I can start getting last hits on all of them during the duration. And then I'm going to be level 3 soon, and then I don't really have to worry about it too much. And now I'm probably gonna take a good bit of damage from these.
If there's a PA, do you go Silver Edge?
Did they? You can. And then here I messed up the timing, so I'm gonna wait for the cooldown, and then I cast it on myself because all that's gonna do is make it so, like, I'm gonna take the same amount of damage with it casted or not, but I'm at least gonna clear it a little bit quicker. And now I'm low, so I'm gonna attack him a few times while he's running back, get a free shot in or two. I might die here actually. But now I'm almost at the point where I'm just like super safe to get last hits. And with this camp, you want to kill this guy first. He has the lowest armor, he has the lowest health, but he does the same amount of damage, and he gives the most experience. So he gives you the most out of this camp while being the squishiest and doing the same amount of damage as everyone else. But now my Blood Rage is strong enough that if I get this next last hit, I'm pretty much good for the rest of the game. And I could be buying my boots and shit, but I don't have a courier. And now it's at the point where Blood Rage lasts as long as the cooldown, so I can have it up whenever I want. Yeah. So that's basically the most of it. Do you have any questions?
No, I think I'm sure I will once I start playing it.
Yeah, you're not gonna get the questions until you run into them.
I'm sure it's gonna be mostly matchup questions.
Yeah.
What should I have done here or something like that.
Right. So I'm going to wrap it up with that, and then I'm going to stop recording now.